You could theoretically walk from England to North America. Imagine starting in London, heading to the Channel, and catching a Eurostar train to France. From there, you'd travel through Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Poland, Belarus, and finally into Russia. Once in Russia, you'd pass through Moscow, continue eastward across the vast and remote Siberia, and eventually reach Vladivostok. From Vladivostok, you'd journey through the harsh, isolated lands of the Chukotka region until you arrive at Cape Dezhnev, the easternmost point of Asia. If you reach Cape Dezhnev during the brutal winter, where temperatures can drop to -50 degrees Celsius, you could theoretically walk across the Bering Strait to Alaska when the sea ice connects the two continents. Alternatively, if you arrive on a clear summer day, you might set up camp, sip some coffee, and gaze at Alaska just a few miles away while waiting for winter to continue your journey. Of course, this journey is purely hypothetical. In reality, walking from England to North America would involve countless obstacles, including harsh terrain, freezing weather, security and legal issues, and the lack of basic necessities like food and shelter. In this fascinating journey, the Bering Strait serves as the link between two great powers, Russia and the US, not just geopolitical rivals, but also very close neighbors. Today, we'll explore the intriguing history and significance of this unique location, and even look into a bold project that could one day bridge the gap between them. Let's dive in. When you look at the map, it's easy to see that the Bering Strait is more than just a separation between Russia and the US. It's also the dividing line between the continents of Asia and North America. The easternmost point of Asia is in Russia's Siberia, while the westernmost point is in Alaska, USA. This strait also connects the Arctic Ocean with the Pacific Ocean. The name Bering comes from Vitus Bering, a Danish-born Russian explorer who crossed this strait in 1728. But did you know that long before anyone waited for the Bering Strait to freeze over in winter, our ancient ancestors crossed from Asia to America on foot? They did this thousands of years ago, using a massive land and ice bridge. This bridge, which stretched about 1,000 kilometers from north to south, existed from around 30,000 to 16,000 years ago. After about 18,000 years ago, rising sea levels erased this legendary bridge, giving us the Bering Strait we see today. The Bering Strait itself is only about 30 to 50 meters deep, with the narrowest point being just 85 kilometers wide. In the middle of the Bering Strait are the Diomede Islands, consisting of two islands. In 1867, when the US purchased Alaska from Russia, the treaty used these islands as a marker to draw the boundary line, with Big Diomede belonging to Russia and Little Diomede belonging to the US. These two islands are just 3.8 kilometers apart, and the boundary line also serves as the international date line. Going back to our hypothetical journey from England to North America, when you reach the Bering Strait and set foot on US soil, time will jump back 21 hours compared to when you were in Russia. In other words, if you're on Big Diomede in Russia at 8 a.m. on January 1st, 2025, and you walk 30 minutes to Little Diomede in the US, it will be 11:30 a.m. on December 31, 2024. You've essentially traveled back in time. That's why the locals call these Tomorrow Island and Yesterday Island. The temperature between these two islands can also differ. For example, when it's -10 degrees Celsius on Big Diomede, it might be just 3 degrees Celsius on Little Diomede. According to US surveys, the population of Little Diomede peaked at 178 people in 1980, and now only 83 residents remain. Given the short distance across the Bering Strait, Russia and the US are close enough that you can actually see the other side with the naked eye. Sarah Palin, the former governor of Alaska, famously remarked during the 2008 US presidential campaign about her political stance on Russia, saying, "There are neighbors, and you can see Russia from an island in Alaska. On a clear day, you can hike up a hill at Cape Prince of Wales, the westernmost point on the US mainland, and look across the Bering Strait to the Siberian mainland. However, the best place to easily see Russia is from Little Diomede Island." Before 1948, the native Eskimos on the two Diomede Islands could freely travel between Siberia and Alaska to hunt, fish, or visit family. However, during the Cold War, an ice curtain descended over the Bering Strait, closing the border and splitting families on the two Diomede Islands. Both Russia and the US built military bases there, and the Eskimos on Big Diomede were forced to relocate to mainland Siberia. In 1987, an American swimmer named Lynn Cox decided to swim across the Bering Strait between the two Diomede Islands in freezing 3.3 degrees Celsius water, hoping to break through the Cold War's ice curtain. At the Washington, D.C. summit that summer, the leaders of Russia and the U.S. praised Lynn for her symbolic effort to end the Cold War. But that was just a rare symbolic act. The Eskimos on the two halves of Diomede still found it difficult to visit each other. As Ozena, a tribal leader on Little Diomede, put it, "It may be just a small strait, but the distance between us is far too great." It wasn't until 2017 that Ozena and his tribe were finally able to welcome their relatives from Big Diomede to Little Diomede. Before Lynn Cox made her journey, in 1913, a German captain named Max Gottschalk traveled from Siberia to Alaska using a dog sled across the two Diomede Islands. He was the first recorded modern traveler to cross from Russia to North America without using a boat. Today, crossing the Bering Strait between Russia and the US without permission is considered illegal. In 2006, two explorers, one British and one French, walked across the strait in 15 days, only to be arrested as soon as they set foot in Russia. In 2012, 6 adventurers attempted to cross the strait for a reality TV show, but were also detained. Fortunately, in these cases, the explorers were soon released by Russian authorities without any major issues. However, there have been a few instances where expeditions were allowed with support from Russia. There have been proposals to build a Bering Strait bridge alongside plans for a tunnel connecting Siberia and Alaska. Despite unprecedented challenges in engineering, politics, and finances, Russia gave the green light to a $65 billion tunnel project in 2011. If completed, this 103-kilometer tunnel would be the longest in the world. It could pave the way for a modern Silk Road stretching from London to Berlin to Moscow to New York, and even further, linking the Americas and Afro-Eurasia. However, the political relationship between Russia and the US is a significant factor in the project's feasibility. The two nations have had a complex and often strained relationship, marked by periods of both cooperation and conflict. This dynamic could impact the level of trust and willingness to collaborate on such a monumental project. As of now, there are no concrete plans or official projects in motion to build a bridge or tunnel across the Bering Strait. The project remains an ambitious idea, requiring extensive further study, massive investment, and deep international cooperation before it could become a reality. The current geopolitical climate adds an extra layer of complexity, making this dream even more distant. And those are the fascinating stories about the unique Bering Strait, a place where Russia and the US are closer than ever. As we've seen, this narrow strip of water holds a wealth of history, challenges, and potential for the future. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Join us as we continue to explore the world's most intriguing geographical stories. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.